Okay, so this morning we're going to talk about the 238 and its importance to how this chart is moving and to what this chart is doing. Okay. Now, as you guys can all see, how impactful the 238 is on the chart, even just looking at what it's been doing here since midnight. Now, what is the 238, which we talked about here when we talked about EMAs the other day, right? The 238 is essentially the 50 or the aqua, which is the blue, on the 5, okay, transferred over to the 1, so we can actually see what that that resistance level as we go to the 5, right? We can look at the 50 on the 5, and you can see, right, the chart has followed that 50. It's been that resistance level, and we just want to be able to see that line on the 1 while we're trading, right? Super impactful EMA, as you can see, flash through, bounce off it, right? This 50 is a magnet, right, on most charts. And so what we do is we want to take this, what this 50 is doing on the 5, and just put it on the 1 so that we can see it. Okay. So why do we want to be able to see the 238? Well, we like to use this as a safety zone. Okay. Now this is an indication, this 238, and one of my longtime traders who's been with me for a long time actually has a little part of his strategy where he only likes to take the trades when the chart and the EMAs are on either side of this. Okay, so as you can see, when it gets broke through here, obviously this sell ran for a long time all the way back down to bottom. Okay, all right, all the way back down to bottom. As you can see, this is a nice, it's only 100, it's 100 pips, but you can see there's lots of up and down in it. But you can see how this 238 acts as a safety area. So, right, if you were in this cell, say you got in this cell and broke here, right, just on the other side of this 238 could be where your stop is, right? You start here. I was on a blue candle, right? So we would have waited the pullback, would have got into it here somewhere, right? So we can use this. The first way we can use this 238 is once we get this. Actually, you could use the 238 as an entry, right? Because it came up, flashed into all these EMAs, bounced off, and there's your signal. You could have waited till this candle was engulfed, but it also engulfed that candle, right? Bounced off those EMAs, engulfed this little candle here, and broke the 238. So lots of good entry points here. Now, obviously this thing only goes about 25 pips. Okay, but a lot of things you can use this 238 for. So you can keep your stop loss just on the other side of it. It would flash through and tapped it here and then went right back down. But the 238 is our safety area, right? And as you can see, if you did keep that at that resistance level, you might have just missed that wick. And then there was all this potential here on the board. Okay. No, that is true. I am using the long position here, just cranking up the stop losses. Right. So lots of potential here. Even if you used a 25 pip stop, which would have been all the way back here to that support, you would have had a beauty 1 to 2, right? If you did move your stop loss into here to break even, you could have secured about 10, 15 pips potentially before this bounce. Okay. But what we can see here with this 238, and we're going to show it in both directions, and this is just an easy way to look at this 238 on the way down, right? Because you can see all the bounces off it, right? You got a signal, bounce, signal, bounce, wick through, bounce, right? These ones come close to it, right? Bounce off it. Okay. And then here again. Okay, so you can see that this thing is coming up, staying on this downtrend, but is coming to that 238. Now that 238 is that thing in the way when you want to take your trade. So this is why this is another way to, be patient with a trade that's going the other direction. As you can see, you get a buy signal right here, but it's under the 238, right? Red star just below the 238, pretty good chance it's going to bounce and turn and go the other direction. So as you can see, this 238 essentially creates a little trend line. Lots of people like to come up here and put a trend line on, right? You can see that 238 pretty close to a moving trend line, right? As you can see, they're pretty close to each other. Okay, which gives you the ability. Here's the thing: if you wanted to use this for multiple reasons, okay, 238 essentially becomes a trend line. You can start to enter this on this trend as it bounces off the 238 and starts to come back down. This can be when you're looking for, right? You get a bounce off the 238, then it breaks through these EMAs. This could be one of those potential re-entry points, okay, from the 238. So our 238 can be used as a safety area, which means that it can be used as a stop loss. It can be used as an early warning that the chart might want to go the other direction, right? For you to be able to get out of those trades. Okay. You can use it as a bounce area. As you can see, this turns into a trend line. So the bounce off the trend line, right? Back down the other direction and be able to enter. Okay. Okay, so I'm not going to answer any questions till I get through the recording. We'll wait for those till we get through the recording here. We're not going to be on this recording for too long, but that is how you can use this, okay, as a way to understand how this trend is moving, right? So this is your safety area. Like you can see, it does break through here, but immediately flashes and back below it. So this 238 is what we call holding this as this continues to move down. Okay. Now we're going to shift. Okay. And we're going to use it. Let's see if we can find it where it's just a little bit closer to the 238. Okay, so you can also see this 238, right? As this thing breaks, the 238 here is also acting on the other direction, right? So you break through this 238 and you can see bounce off it, and then push up, come all the way back to it, then push up. This 238 becomes an area, and I'll tell you, it can become an area where you can enter or where you want to exit, because it's that early warning sign. And a lot of us, when we're scalping here, trying to get in and out of that market, we're looking for those early signals, right? To get in and get out, or, okay, maybe this thing might reverse on us. What are our indications? And one of those indications is the 238. And here you can see, just trying to get a better view, right? This thing flashes through it. There's POC right there as well, but you can see comes back down, bounces off it, comes back down, bounces off it, wicks through it to the EMAs, and then bam. And you want to talk about entering in pullbacks, right? This thing, you have that's your goal right there for the day. But if you're looking to re-enter this and you miss that signal and you missed it coming off, that it does pull all the way back, right? Back to this 238, and then up it goes again, right? And as you can see, there's lots of ways to use this 238. Okay, so this was a counter trade yesterday, right? This is a counter trend. Came out here right after open, right in open, right? This, when it came back down here in this one straight candle, when open happened, it broke this 238 right here, right? So another opportunity, okay? Another opportunity here to take this down, knowing that this signal now, right? Is it doing that? Okay, that this signal now has broken. I don't know why that's going behind the candles, but has now broken this 238. So you now know there's some space to fill on the other way. There's a 100 pip drop here. Of course, this is rated open, so it would have been a tough trade to take. Okay. Okay. We're not worried about the 15 on the 238, or the 238 on the 15. You're focusing. Well, I messed that up. Sorry, I went to take a look, and we're not worried about that. We're trading in the one. Obviously, you can use those as entries or you can use those as targets. 60 pips is a good is more than your day, double your daily reward that you're looking for. So that is a big reward. That's twice your daily goal. You know, you would look for a little bit more than 60, but if you're focusing on the 15 more, it's going to keep you out of some of these short-term swings. Okay. Yeah, that's 5%, which really is more than you need. But okay, I'm just talking about here, I'm talking about how this works on the 1. If you want to use that as other areas, because really then if you're using it on the 15, it's really the 50 on like the 20, not the, you know, so you're getting to long-term. But sorry, I wasn't going to answer questions, but sucked into one there. Okay. So as you can see, it breaks this 238. I'm just showing you the 238, right? Breaks this 238. There's 100 pips. Right? Breaks this 238 here. Okay. Okay. This is another early indication that this is broken through here and is getting ready to switch to a different signal, which happened yesterday, right? So early warning, you're like, okay, I'm going to be patient. Here's my resistance level. It's broken the 238, right? So it looks like it does want to go back up. And even in this break of the 238, there's 40 pips, right? Even if you got into it at this engulf and break through the 238. But look what it does. It breaks through the 238. We talk about this as soon as it breaks through, immediately retests back to it. Okay. Pushes up, gives you a signal where you just have a little bit of space in here. Right. So for me, I'm like, you could have got into this buy signal, but probably would have taken a stop right here with there's just not enough reward to that next resistance level. You waited out this pullback back to the 238 and the 238 holds again. Right. And then does this after. Right. That 238 holds again and then does this. Right. 250 pips, sorry, 350 pips on the board. Okay. Just recognizing that there's just a little bit that it's probably going to bounce at this little level here, because this was the level right before open happened, right? This fills that displacement, probably going to bounce right here. You wait for it to come back to these EMAs, back to this 238. There's your trade. Right now, if you jumped into that signal, you would have even a 50 pip stop would have taken you. Well, it would have been really close. Yeah, would have just taken you even a 50 pip stop. Okay. Now, another way you can use this 238. Okay, that was a bounce on this, and I'm not going over trend. I'm just identifying some of these signals here. Okay. Okay. Well, there's plenty of entries. Break of this resistance. Break a engulf of this candle. I would probably have waited for this. I would actually have gotten in right at this bounce and break of these EMAs. My entry would have been down here. My entry would have been bounce off these and entry in here, because this gives me, what are we looking at? Off of this, this gives me back to this resistance level, 80, 90 pips. Okay, 80, 90 pips. Back to here. That's my whole goal, just to get back to that resistance if I want to. And it literally does that in 3 candles. Bam, 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 done. Entry here. And if you protect it and stretch your TP, which lots of people did yesterday, you have a huge trade. Now, okay, another way to use it. Now, I'm not going over trend. I'm not going over trend and counter trend, but another way to use it, okay, is when this happens and you get a signal like this, right? Your opportunity, if this is going to be a potential bounce zone, say it's like a resistance level. If this is a potential bounce zone and you get this signal here, what would you use this 238 for? No, I'm going the other way. GP, yes, this is your target, right? You enter here, right? This now becomes your target. You're like, okay, probably going to bounce in this area. So if I do take this thing, I'm going to use it as a target, right? Now it doesn't quite get there, but if you use that as a target, 627 here, maybe you get into the bottom there, 602 to 543. There's 50 plus pips in there. Just coming back to this 238, right? Knowing that it's probably going to hit this and bounce, and it didn't quite get there, right? Bounced a little bit above it. But if you were to take this trend, and this was a counter trend trade yesterday, so I avoided it. But if you were to take this, you know that this could be your target. And try not to hold it and try and hope that it breaks the 238. Just take the target it's going to give you, especially if some people aren't listening and counter trading. Okay. So you can use that as a target as well. Okay. That can be, I'm just going to take it back to 238, probably bounce in that position. Okay. And now it's your target, right? Because if it does want to stay, and that's essentially what it does, right? We get our reset. What time does this reset happen? This is your London close, comes out, reset, starts up here at around 9:30, bounces around, a little bit more of a reset, comes back down to this 238. And I got into this one and took a quick 50 out of there and was done. Bam, 50 back up to that resistance area. Okay. Just broke through, tapped it. This was potentially off this signal, was 100 pips. Okay. Now, same thing. You're above the EMA's cross, you're on trend. Okay. Now, same thing here with this sell. Right. You enter right here. This is your target. Right. You have 50 pips there. And that's your target. This one does eventually break through it and continue to fall, but that's an easy target. Right now we can go and take a look. Look what it does here shortly after. And this is when the market closes. So it gets a bit crazy in there, but hits this 238, bounces. Once it breaks 560, there's 45 pips there on the break of the 238. Right, breaks this 238, up we go. Right, as you can see, this 238, even if you just use this as another confirmation of what direction this chart wants to go. Okay, and something else I want to just go over here quickly about the 238. And then I think we have some news this morning or tomorrow. And then we have some trades that we wanted, that people wanted me to go over. Okay. 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 Back to auto. Okay. And the last thing I want to show you guys is when it breaks through the 238. Okay. This is the last thing it wants to do. Once you get a break of the 238, it almost 95 to 99% of the time, it's going to retest back to it. Okay, so unless you're getting into it as that candle breaks, right? As soon as it breaks, I mean, obviously there's 40, 50 pips there, but unless you're getting into it as soon as it breaks that 238, expect, as you can see, look, candle through, next candle's down, immediate candle retest, then back down it goes, right? Breaks through, couple candles, immediate retest back to it, back up it goes. Okay, you guys all seeing what I'm seeing, right? Flashes through, breaks down, closes this side, immediate retest candle back to the 238. And then you do get another pullback here, but you can see that candle, right? You get this immediate retest, right? Breaks through, immediate retest. Now, if you were in this, you wanted to get in and join the signal, you can take that retest off it, right? Right? Breaks through, immediate retest back to it. Up we go. Okay, breaks through, we get this retest, this kind of holds this area and pushes back up, retests again, down it goes. Okay, can just go over and over it, right? Breaks through, flashes up, immediate retest, and then kind of holds this area again before then heading down, right? Breaks through, immediate retest. Okay, it's not going to happen all the time. You can see this reversal had a lot of strength, but essentially you can look for that as a snipe entry, right? So you have this break through, you're like, okay, it's going to break the 238, right? And then it's just going to come back to it. And then I'm going to look to, and if it bounces off it and wants to continue up, then I'm going to look to join it, right? And we could go over all these breaks on the 238. Look at this break, 238 breaks through, immediate reversal candle, then up it goes, right? This one breaks through, you don't kind of get a full reversal back, but you still get another blue candle right after it. Reversal, then down it goes, right? This one breaks through, up it goes, reversal, and then back up. We could just go over to this one. Breaks through, reverses back, down it goes. So, right, everyone see what I'm trying to show you here? This is like waiting out the pullback, right? Breaks through, pushes all the way back, right? You're looking to head up here. This is, this does come back down again on this signal. Okay, but if you waited this signal because there wasn't much reward, waited that out, bam, up it goes, right? Even in the middle of opens, flashes down, immediate retest candle, down it goes, right? Look at that, breaks through, immediate retest candle, breaks through, immediately retests, right? Starts to push back. Sometimes it doesn't get all the way back to the 238, but pushes back in that direction. So that's another little, okay, it's broken the 238. Is it going to head through the 238 and continue on that trend, or is it going to reverse and come back up? Right? You wait for that little second candle that's coming after it breaks that 238. Okay. So multiple ways to use that 238. Use it as a way to help you join the trend. As you can see, right, we had that bounce off it, all the way down, essentially creating a trend line. This is probably going to get a little switch here. Good news. Yeah, it's not until 7:45. Okay. This is holding this area now, so I'm good. This is a tough place to be trading. As you can see, these EMAs are just sitting on each other. So be super patient and wait for these EMAs to start getting some space. Okay. But the 238, we want to talk about how, okay, we can use it to join off trend. This is now turned into a rejection level. As you can see, as it comes up to it, rejects, and all these, red stars as well, help with the indication that this could potentially be reversing. Okay. Now, we can use it as a rejection, right? Or we can use it when it crosses the 238 as an entry, like here, right? It's staying right on this 238, kind of going back and forth and up and down. And you can see when it crosses, goes right to the top, resets. This would have been tough because all of this before would have been hard, but let's see if I can find a better example. Right? Or when it crosses the 238, as you can see here, crosses it 571. This is essentially only 20 pips in there, but crosses that as an entry as well, right? Another entry this direction as it crosses the 238. Crosses, rejects, you could take that one up. There was 30 or 40 pips on it, right? Crosses it, comes back to the 238, rejects it, continues on the signal, right? You enter right at that, you enter at that break, even with that rejection. These are safe places to sort of enter your trade, right? Breaks through, 100 pips on the board, right? 60, 70 pips on the board. Yeah, pretty close to 100. Right, breaks through, down it goes. After it breaks through that 238, breaks through, even just in this little push here, you had 60 pips on that. So it retests it right here, breaks through, you had 60 pips. You could wait out that reset, wait out that signal, bam, up we go. Right, that signal was in a tough place. It was right back at that resistance area. So waiting out that signal just to get a better entry, be like, okay, I like this signal, I like this heading back up. I want to see it break through here or come back to these EMAs and give me enough space back up to the top. As you can see, it breaks that 238. And even if you would have entered at the break of this 238, this actually set out a little double bottom and then went straight up. But entering at the break of that 238 would have been solid there as well. Okay. So that's another way to use it. And then the last way we can use it is to use it as a target, right? As we get a trade that's above it or below it, that's heading back to it, right? Like this trade, right? We can use that as a target, okay? Right? You can use this as a target. We enter here 650, target is 50, 60 pips away, comes back down, hits your target, right? You're like, okay, probably going to bounce in this space, or pretty good chance it's going to bounce in this space. So let's just take it back to that area, right? Same with this trade. Obviously, there's more than our goal, but you're like, okay, I got 100 pips back to the 238. I really only need, 35 to 50. There's some potential back to that 238. And then if it wants to run and get back to that 238, I'm back in a protected position where it might potentially want to break like it did over here. Okay. So we can use it as a target. We can also use it as an entry, right? Right. Use it as a target, use it as an entry, or use it as a rejection level. So if you wanted to use it, this is kind of the more advanced of how you want to use it. You get this buy signal, rejects off that 238. Be looking to get a little to join it as it rejected, red star, head back through, broke through those EMAs and made his way back down. Okay, the 238 is very important. Once you start to identify what it's doing, start to use it to help you with your entries and help you with your exits and help you with, like, taking a buy here, even if it's on the right candle, but if you took a buy as it broke through these EMAs back to that 238, right? Though it can be your target. Okay. Okay. That is our training for this morning. So I'm going to kill this thing. And that is our training on the 238. We are going to get to our call now. And I'm just going to stop this recording.